So I thought, since I'm sick today, got a little stuffy, and I'm sunburned as fuck with this shit, that, that I talk about injury prevention. A lot of people are always asking myself how I stay injury free, maxing out all the time, doing these weird lifts, or Eric stays injury free. So, not talking about it. There's no secret, really. But anyway, so the first thing to ask yourself with injuries is, when are you getting injured, or when do people in general get injured? And there's usually 3 times. First way that people get injured is they're dicking around. We're going to ignore that one. Second one is maxing out. And the third one is going to positions they don't mean to go into. For example, letting your lumbar spine round during a deadlift when you don't mean for it to. So, talk about the second way, which was max out attempts. A lot of people get injured during I can't talk. A lot of people get injured during max out attempts because they're not used to maxing out. That's the main reason. It's not that they're pushing their bodies really to the limit. It's that they're not used to pushing them to the limit. If you run, for example, 12-week programs usually, and you only max out at the end of those, you're only doing a max attempt once every 12 weeks, which is very seldom. If you're one of those people who only max out once or twice a year, then you're getting even less practice, which is just increasing your chances of getting injured. If you're a football player and during practice you never allow yourself to get tackled, and all of a sudden you play a game where you're getting the shit kicked out of you, you're getting more likely to get injured because you're not used to getting tackled. Same principle, same exact principle. If you're not used to these, pushing your body, it's gonna give. So my advice is to max out in something more often. Pick, rotate. If you do squat, bench, and dead, max out one of them every other week or something. Max out everything every 4th week. Or train like I do. The Wisconsin method was max out every day, so you get really, really good at maxing out. You just get more practice doing it. It's not that complicated. You'll be better at it. Your body will be more used to it. It won't freak out when you're at these, end ranges of your strength. The other way people usually get injured is going to positions that they're not used to or don't mean to go into. And that's probably the most common way people get injured. Again, for example, some loss of technique during a lift, whether it be a squat, your knees cave in, or whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. So my advice is to work on those positions. For example, when you're warming up for a deadlift, just have 135 on and do a bunch of deadlifts with your back as rounded as possible. Teach your body to be strong in these positions, to be comfortable in these positions, and you're way less likely to get injured when you go to them by accident. So maybe do a set of 5 with 135 with proper technique, and then do another 5 with horrendous technique. You'll be fine until it's very light. Your spine's stronger than you think it is. Same thing with squats. Do a couple sets of 5 with let's say 95 pounds on, with good technique, and then just sit in the bottom and move around, get in these bad positions. Let your knees collapse for a second. Let your back round for a second. Go back to normal position. Stand back up. It's a good way to practice these things. If you look at Chinese weightlifters, they do a lot of rounded back deadlifts. They do a lot of squats with a rounded back. Bunch of that stuff. Again, just teaching your body to be comfortable and not freak out when you go in these positions by accident. Because no matter how good of a lifter you are, no matter how good your technique is, eventually you're going to accidentally go into a bad position. And again, that's usually when most injuries occur. Another way it's good for preventing injuries, doing a lot of unilateral stuff. Do a lot of lunges, Bulgarian split squats. Single leg deadlifts, one arm presses, one arm rows, stuff like that. Teach your body to move better. If all you're ever doing is working in one plane of motion, or just doing 3 lifts, squat, bench, and deadlift, your body's not very good at moving. Especially if you never played sports or anything growing up, you need to just teach your body to move better. And unilateral stuff is a great way to do that. It's not hard. You can load it up pretty heavy. A lot of people are skimpy on their weights with single leg stuff. They'll be squatting 500 pounds, and then they'll, as an accessory, do Bulgarian split squats with 10 pounds in each hand or something for a set of 10. That's just not going to do anything. Load that shit up. Go heavy. Challenge your body a little bit. It's great for building joint strength. Again, teaching your body to move better, etc. Another thing is working on your mobility. A lot of people just kind of mindlessly stretch, but work on the problems you have. Work on probably your hips. Most people have tight hips, just sitting all day at work and stuff. Work on your shoulders, your chest. Again, sitting all day long, everyone's hunched over. Work on that stuff. At the same time, as you're building these new ranges of motion, work on strength in those and ranges. So if you normally can't touch your toes and suddenly you work on your hamstring mobility and glute mobility, whatever, and now you can touch your toes, you got to build strength in those new ranges of motion. So do some straight leg deadlifts, do hamstring curls, whatever. Just working on the strength in those new positions. It's a big deal. If you just build mobility and not strength along with it, nothing is going to come of it. That's some shit plan, but whatever. The last thing, if a lift has never felt good for you, maybe stop doing it. If, like with me, regular deadlifts never felt good. I was trying to spin my wheels with them for a long time. Never felt good. Always felt halfway tweaked every time I do them. And after I cut them out, I felt way better. So if a lift doesn't feel good, pick an alternative. It's fine. If behind the back deadlift feels better, you're probably going to go way farther with it than you would with a standard deadlift, just because it feels better for one thing. But maybe your body is just better at that lift. Maybe a Jefferson feels better. Maybe a front squat feels better than a back squat. If it does, just get really strong at that. Unless you're competing in powerlifting, there's no reason to stick to 3 basic lifts. There's no reason those should be your main lifts. If you want to have lunge be your main leg exercise, you want to have Jeffersons be your main pull off the ground, and you want overhead press, that's fine. Get really good at those. If those feel better, you'll feel better, and you'll probably get way stronger and go a lot farther than doing lifts that don't feel good for you. They probably don't feel good for a reason. Maybe your body's just not, quote unquote, made for them. That's not an excuse to not do big lifts. That doesn't mean you should just do bicep curls every day because those feel good, but pick things that are, your body's better at, and you'll be way happier, I can guarantee it. So yeah, that's my take on injury prevention. It's not that hard. Just, last one. Take it back. Getting good at bracing. A lot of people neglect bracing. There's a million YouTube videos how to brace better. Just Google them, but focus on it a lot, especially if you're a beginner. Learn how to brace properly. Probably get a belt. My advice is, well, the way I use a belt is I warm them up without when it starts getting like 70, 80-ish%. That's when I put it on. Just makes things feel better. Makes you feel more secure. Gives some confidence, which can be good. I think confidence with lifting is very, very important. Obviously, it's, as Eric says, it's a mindset. So, yeah, those are my takes on injury prevention. Not that hard. Practice, practice, practice. That's all injury prevention is.